Welcome back, everyone. We're diving deep today into a chapter that's all about new beginnings, first impressions, and, well, maybe just a little bit of magical mayhem, too.
Sounds intriguing.
Oh, it is. We're taking a closer look at the sorting ceremony from, of course, Harry Potter and the Sorcerer's Stone. You know that moment where those 11-year-old witches and wizards find out where they truly belong in the wizarding world?
A pretty pivotal scene, right? It sets the stage for so much of what's to come.
Exactly. So picture this, right? Harry and all the other first years arrive at Hogwarts, and they step into this massive entrance hall.
You can't really overstate how grand it's described in the book.
Oh, absolutely. It's like stepping into, I don't know, a fairy tale castle crossed with a cathedral. Rowling even writes that you could fit the entire Dursley's house inside it.
Wow. Yeah, I had forgotten that detail.
Talk about a contrast, right?
Yeah.
And waiting to greet them, you've got Professor McGonagall with that stern, no-nonsense look of hers.
She definitely doesn't seem like the type to put up with any shenanigans.
Definitely not. Especially not when it comes to the sorting ceremony. She makes it clear this is serious business.
And she's not wrong. This isn't just some fun little tradition. The house you're sorted into shapes your entire Hogwarts experience.
It's like your Hogwarts family, isn't it?
Mhm.
I mean, they share classes, dorms. They're competing for the house cup together.
It's all about house pride. Earning points, avoiding losing points, all for the glory of winning that coveted house cup at the end of the year.
Right from the start, we see how much those house points matter. You know, the weight they carry.
Absolutely. It's this constant undercurrent of competition and camaraderie, pushing the students to excel and, let's be honest, sometimes to bend the rules a bit too.
And you can really feel the nerves starting to get to those first years as they wait for the sorting to begin. Hermione's over there, frantically trying to remember all the spells she's already crammed into her head.
A classic Hermione move. Meanwhile, Harry's probably just hoping he doesn't trip over his own feet and make a fool of himself.
Oh, totally. It's like those classic first day of school jitters,
Yeah.
but amplified by, 1,000 because it's Hogwarts.
Yeah. Rowling really captures those universal feelings of wanting to fit in, wanting to be accepted. But for Harry, it goes even deeper than that, doesn't it? He spent his whole life feeling like an outsider. And here, for the first time, he has a chance to find where he truly belongs.
It's like a whole new level of anxiety layered on top of that typical first day nervousness.
Exactly.
As if the first years weren't on edge enough already, suddenly ghosts decide to make an appearance.
Oh, I love the ghosts. They
Yeah.
add such a fun and sometimes spooky layer to the whole atmosphere of Hogwarts.
They definitely do. And nearly headless Nick, he's like the unofficial welcoming committee for Gryffindor, practically giddy at the thought of new potential recruits.
He even insists on being called his full name, Sir Nicholas de Mimsy Porpington, instead of just nearly headless Nick.
I love that detail. It just cracks me up every time.
It definitely shows you how much pride he takes in his Gryffindor identity, even in, well, his somewhat less than solid state.
Right. Definitely. And then there's that brief argument between the ghosts about giving Peeves another chance.
It's just a quick mention, but it definitely piques your curiosity.
Right. Who is this Peeves character? What kind of trouble has he been causing? Classic Rowling, right?
Yeah.
Dropping those little hints of intrigue to keep us hooked.
Masterful storytelling, I'd say. It leaves you wanting more, wondering what's going to happen next.
Exactly. And then the moment arrives. It's time for the sorting hat.
Truly, one of the most iconic elements of the entire Harry Potter universe.
Oh, for sure. The book describes it as patched and frayed, ancient, like it's about 1,000 years old and barely holding itself together.
The hat's appearance definitely contrasts with its magical ability, right? I mean, this is the hat that can look inside your mind and tell you where you belong at Hogwarts.
Talk about power. And it's not just about telling you, it sings about it.
The Sorting Hat song is a highlight of this whole chapter, isn't it? It's not just explaining the values of each house, it's giving the hat a distinct personality.
It's like this wise, old, slightly crotchety observer who's seen generations of students come and go.
Exactly.
So the sorting begins, right? One by one, students are called up, the hats placed on their heads, and the anticipation in the hall is palpable.
You can feel the tension building with every name called.
Each sorting gives you a little glimpse into how the hat works its magic. Hannah Abbott, she ends up in Hufflepuff, known for their loyalty and hard work.
Makes sense. Then there's Terry Boot, sorted into Ravenclaw, where wit and intelligence are prized above all else.
And then there's Draco Malfoy, striding up to the stool with this air of, pure confidence.
He's practically expecting to be sorted into Slytherin, the house known for ambition and, let's be honest, a bit of a cunning streak.
Oh, definitely. It's a moment that really sets the stage for his character arc, doesn't it?
Totally. And then, oh, poor Neville Longbottom. He trips on his way to the stool, the hat almost falls off, and you can't help but feel for him in that moment.
He's just so nervous. But you know what? Even in that moment of clumsiness, he shows a flash of, I don't know, maybe that Gryffindor courage, that willingness to face a challenge head on.
You might be onto something there. It's a subtle hint of the bravery he'll eventually display, even if it takes a little while to fully emerge.
Exactly. And then, the moment everyone has been waiting for, it's Harry's turn.
The whole hall goes silent.
Like you could hear a pin drop. Every eye is on him.
Talk about pressure.
You can see it all over Harry's face too, right? This weight of expectation. And he's heard the whispers about Slytherin, their association with dark wizards, and he's terrified of ending up there.
It's not just about fitting in anymore, is it? It's about avoiding a path he doesn't want to take.
The sorting hat is placed on his head, and he's literally pleading with it, "Not Slytherin, not Slytherin."
Such a powerful moment. And the hat takes its time, weighing his potential, sensing his fears. It even suggests that Slytherin could help Harry on the path to greatness.
Right. It's almost like the hat is acknowledging that ambition and cunning aren't inherently bad qualities. It's how you use them that matters.
I never thought about it that way. That's a really interesting perspective.
The tension is almost unbearable. But finally, the hat shouts, "Gryffindor!"
And the hall explodes. Relief washes over Harry's face. The Weasley twins are going crazy with excitement. And you can just feel this sense of, like, destiny being fulfilled, but also chosen.
It's such a powerful moment.
Yeah.
It reinforces this idea that Harry, despite his connection to Voldemort, is destined for a path of good, a path of light.
It's like, okay, he's found his people, the people who will fight alongside him, who will challenge him, who will help him become the wizard he's meant to be.
And then we're introduced to the teachers at the high table, this lineup of larger-than-life personalities who are going to play such a crucial role in shaping these young witches and wizards.
Hagrid is practically beaming with pride. Dumbledore looks just like he does on those chocolate frog cards with that twinkle in his eye.
It's like a who's who of the wizarding world. And there's Quirrell, looking a little nervous, a little out of place in that strange turban of his.
Yeah, he definitely stands out.
But then, Harry makes eye contact with Snape, and suddenly his scar is burning with pain.
Chills. That moment right there just sends chills down your
And
spine.
right, it foreshadows this complex, often really antagonistic relationship they're going to have.
It raises so many questions, too, about their shared past, the connection they have through that scar.
It's like a subtle warning, isn't it?
Yeah.
Even in this magical world, there are shadows lurking, and Harry's journey is far from over.
Oh, this is just the beginning.
Whew. That moment with Snape, it really makes you hold your breath, doesn't it? But then, thankfully, things lighten up a bit as the feast begins. And let me tell you, the food sounds absolutely incredible.
Oh, definitely. Roast beef, chicken, piles of mashed potatoes. It's like a feast fit for a king, or, well, a wizard king.
Right. It's like Harry stepped into a whole new world of culinary delights, especially compared to those, well, let's be honest, rather dull meals he was used to at the Dursleys.
It's such a stark contrast, and I think it's intentional on Rowling's part. It's not just about the food, it's about Harry entering this world of abundance, of warmth, a place where he's truly cared for.
I like that. It's like a visual representation of him leaving behind that life of neglect and stepping into, I don't know, a place of nourishment and magic.
Exactly.
And it's not just about the food itself, right? It's the whole atmosphere, the conversation swirling around him, these little snippets of the other first year's lives.
Oh, absolutely. Like when Seamus Finnegan mentions that his dad's a muggle, didn't even know his mom was a witch until after they were married.
That's right. What a story.
It's such a great detail because it kind of breaks down this idea of a rigid separation between the wizarding and muggle world.
Yeah, it's like magic can pop up anywhere, even in the most unexpected families.
Exactly.
And then there's Neville. Oh, poor Neville. He shares that story about how his family discovered he was a wizard being dangled out of a window by his great uncle.
Oh, yeah. And he bounced, didn't he? All the way down the street.
It's hilarious and a little bit terrifying, to be honest. But, it shows this really heartwarming side of his family, this love and acceptance, even when they were unsure about his magical abilities.
It's like a reminder that magic can manifest in the most surprising ways, and that family, whether biological or chosen, is a powerful force in the Harry Potter world.
Speaking of powerful forces, we can't forget about that lingering sense of unease. I mean, we've got Snape lurking about, and then Dumbledore stands up to make his end of feast announcements, and, well, it's a bit of a roller coaster, isn't it?
Oh, Dumbledore, he's a master of that, isn't he? Blending the whimsical with, let's face it, some pretty serious warnings.
He reminds them about the Forbidden Forest, gives the Weasley twins a knowing look, and then, bam, he drops that bombshell about the third-floor corridor.
Out of bounds to everyone who does not wish to die a very painful death. You don't get much clearer than that.
Talk about a mood shift. Okay, Dumbledore, we're all ears. What's behind that door?
It's brilliant, really. Rowling knows exactly how to create suspense, hinting at danger without revealing too much.
It definitely keeps you on the edge of your seat. But then, to lighten the mood, I guess, we get the Hogwarts school song.
Which is, well, certainly an experience.
Yeah. The lyrics are a bit odd, even for a magical school, but I love how Dumbledore conducts the whole thing with this, absolute gusto.
It's like he's saying, yes, this song is a bit strange, but we're going to embrace it with everything we've got.
Exactly. And of course, you've got the Weasley twins already showing their rebellious streak, singing along to the tune of a funeral march.
They're definitely ones to watch. Always up to something mischievous.
Oh, for sure. And speaking of mischievous, on their way to the Gryffindor common room, the first years are ambushed by Peeves the poltergeist.
Ah, Peeves, the embodiment of chaos.
He's throwing walking sticks, creating mayhem, a true agent of disorder.
But it's interesting that even Peeves seems to answer to someone, right? He listens to the Bloody Baron, the Slytherin ghost.
That's right. There's a hint of order, even within all that chaos.
It's like a subtle reminder that actions have consequences, even in a world of magic.
Makes sense. So finally, after that chaotic encounter with Peeves, the first years reach the Gryffindor common room, which sounds like a welcome haven after such a long, eventful day.
Oh, yeah. The Gryffindor common room, it becomes such a central place in the series, doesn't it? A symbol of belonging and safety.
It's a place where they can relax, be themselves with their housemates.
Their Gryffindor family.
Think about it. Harry, for the first time in his life, gets to sleep in a real bed.
After years of being stuck in that cupboard under the stairs.
It's such a powerful symbol of his transformation, isn't it? Leaving that life of neglect behind and finding a place where he's valued, where he truly belongs.
It's a beautiful moment. But even in that moment of peace, there's a hint of foreshadowing, right? Harry has that unsettling dream about Professor Quirrell's turban, Slytherin, and Snape's chilling laughter.
That dream is definitely not a good sign. It's like a dark cloud hanging over what should be a night of peaceful sleep.
It reminds us that Harry's past, that darkness, it's not going to disappear so easily.
And that his journey, well, it's just getting started. That dream is a powerful reminder, isn't it? Even in this magical world, there's darkness lurking. It makes you wonder, though, what are some of the bigger themes at play here? This is just one chapter, but so much is established that carries through the entire series.
Oh, absolutely. The sorting ceremony, it's not just about putting kids into houses. It's a microcosm of the whole series, really. All those central conflicts and themes, they're right there.
Like that question of choice versus destiny, right? I mean, does the sorting hat see your predetermined fate? Or is it more about recognizing your potential and then you get to choose your path?
It's a question that Harry grapples with throughout the series, doesn't he? He's got this prophecy hanging over him, this preordained role in the fight against Voldemort.
But he constantly makes choices that defy expectations.
Yeah,
It's like he's shaping his destiny, not just fulfilling it.
exactly. And that's what makes him such a compelling character, I think. He's not just a pawn in some grand game. He has agency. His choices matter.
It makes you think, too, about how much control we actually have over our own lives.
Yeah,
I mean, even when it feels like, fate is pushing us in a certain direction.
that's so true. And that theme of agency, it's not just limited to Harry, is it? Look at Neville Longbottom. He starts off as this timid, somewhat clumsy kid, but he's sorted into Gryffindor, the House of Courage.
And over time, he really steps up, doesn't he? He makes choices that demonstrate incredible bravery, especially when it matters most.
Neville's journey is a powerful reminder that we all have the potential for greatness, even if it's hidden or takes a while to emerge.
Sometimes it takes facing a challenge, stepping outside our comfort zones to discover who we truly are.
And Hogwarts, it's the perfect setting for that kind of growth. I mean, think about it. You've got demanding classes, magical creatures, and a whole social hierarchy with the houses. It pushes these students to their limits.
It forces them to confront their fears and discover what they're truly capable of.
And while individual growth is a big theme, You can't ignore the emphasis on community and belonging, especially within the houses themselves.
The houses are like families, aren't they? They offer support, camaraderie, a shared sense of identity.
You see that right away during the sorting ceremony. Everyone cheering for their housemates, welcoming them into the fold.
It's like that universal need to find your tribe, your people, the ones who accept you for who you are.
It gives you that strength to face challenges knowing you have people you can rely on, people who have your back.
Which is so important, especially when you're like 11 years old and navigating a whole new world.
Oh, totally. And that sense of community, it's what helps them overcome some pretty incredible obstacles throughout the series.
It's a testament to the power of friendship and loyalty, sticking together no matter what.
Exactly.
Okay, so we got choice versus destiny, individual growth, the importance of community.
Mm-hmm.
What other big themes do you see at play in this chapter?
Well, one that's hard to miss is prejudice. The way Slytherin is often portrayed as, the bad house.
Associated with ambition and cunning, maybe even a tendency toward dark magic.
Right. And you see that prejudice reflected in the whispers and wary glances from other students.
But it's interesting because the Sorting Hat itself doesn't present Slytherin as inherently evil. It's more like those qualities, ambition, resourcefulness, that disregard for rules, they could be used for good or for bad.
It's like a reminder that we can't just rely on stereotypes, right? Individuals within a group can make choices, and those choices are what define them, not their house or any label we put on them.
It's a lesson that feels particularly relevant these days.
Oh, for sure. It's a reminder to be critical thinkers, to question assumptions, and to remember that people are more complex than they might seem at first glance.
Absolutely.
Hmm.
Wow. So much to unpack, and this was just one chapter.
Right. We've got the grandeur of Hogwarts, the anxieties of the sorting ceremony, that amazing feast, hints of danger, and all these enduring themes.
It's incredible how much Rowling packed into just a few pages.
It's the magic of great storytelling, isn't it? It draws you in, makes you think, makes you want to keep exploring.
Well, that about wraps up our deep dive into the sorting ceremony. Thanks for joining us as we explored this pivotal chapter from Harry Potter and the Sorcerer's Stone.
It was a pleasure.
And as always, we encourage you to keep those conversations going, keep exploring the source material, and remember there's always something new to discover in the wizarding world, and maybe even in our own lives.
Until next time.
Happy reading.